All right, we're getting to, you already mentioned before the break, we're talking a lot of trade rumors in basketball. It's that time of the year. In football, it's not really time of the year for trade rumors, but Shedeur Sanders changes the rules on everything in football. But in baseball, it is the time of the year. We're in late June. The trade deadline this year is actually August 3rd, I think.
Why do they push it? Do you know?
They decided they want it on I don't know if it's Sunday. I can't remember what day of the week it is. But they decided a couple of years ago when they went to the one trade. It used to be two trade deadlines.
Right.
It used to be end of July, and then you could still make trades in August, but guys had to clear waivers.
Right.
They got rid of that. Now there's just one trade deadline, and I think they pushed it back a lot of times a couple of days because they want it on a certain day, and they want to give teams maybe a little extra time.
In
the first.
It was July 31st was real clean and easy.
Yeah.
I don't know why they.
Right. But the point is, we're little over 5 weeks from the trade deadline. Things are going to start heating up. There was a trade last night in baseball, not a huge one, but there was a trade last night. We've already seen the Guardians trade for Patrick Bailey, but Jeff Passan, who of course is from Cleveland, and he is now the baseball insider. He pretty much breaks almost every story in terms of transactions in Major League Baseball. He put out a column with trade targets for teams. And do we have this list on a graphic here, Mike? Yeah, here's some of the guys he mentioned. Luis Arraez, Sandy
These are guys
Alcantara.
for Cleveland. Just want to make clear. These are guys he said could be trade targets for Cleveland.
Yeah, I've talked about all these guys. I'm not really Luis Arraez.
I don't like Arraez.
I don't like. You like him or
no?
Don't like him?
I don't.
He's not a fit. He's got no power. And
No.
He's just a singles hitter. And he's not a good defensive player. Freddie Peralta, Gleyber Torres, and Jarren Duran. Go ahead, guys. What names stand out here? If you want to jump in on any of these,
Torres doesn't make sense to me anymore.
The Tigers are not going to trade him.
No, and Jarren
plays second base.
I mean, if you're talking bad, Jarren Duran would be on that list. I would take any of those pitchers too. But Duran and Boston have been linked Duran's been rumored in trade rumors for years. They have a kind of a glut of outfielders, so I'm high on Duran.
Yeah, he's not having a good season.
No, he's come around the last few weeks though. He got off to a terrible start.
Yeah,
but he's been better of late. And if you're going to make me pick among those names, I would take him as a bat over the other two.
Yeah, I mean, in a one-on-one situation here, I'm buying low on Duran. In general, though, what's the easy answer? A bat. You need a bat. But I don't think that it is an easy answer, right? If you're making a move and you're going for it, I think you need to fortify your pitching too.
Yeah.
So it's a series of moves.
Yes.
And all those names make sense. But in a one-for-one situation, I'm taking Duran.
I would be interested in a Duran and Aroldis package from Boston.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Well, Aroldis just blew his first save of the year. And by the way, you could, if you traded for Aroldis, you make him the closer, and then you could use Cade Smith in a multi-inning or like a shutdown inning role.
Yeah, but do you really want to do that? Do you really want to mess with Cade and take? Because that's what we said when they got Andrew Miller. Everybody thought Miller was going to be the closer,
right? But
Cody Allen stayed.
Cade has not been established as long as Cody Allen.
But Cade's going to be here a lot longer than Aroldis is.
That's true. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
I think
Aroldis Chapman's one of the greatest closers of all time.
He is, and he'd be a rental here, and I think they would use him as they used Andrew Miller. I think
They might. I don't know if he's old, though, to be doing that kind of role. So
you worry about the dynamics, and especially, like, say the trade was made now while Cade Smith is struggling. You worry about that.
Right. And it'll be interesting to see how they do. Either way, I would take him, certainly.
Sure.
You'd want Aroldis Chapman here. Jarren Duran's the guy I want most of the list. I've been talking about him for a while now. You probably can get him cheaper because he's not having a particularly great season. He's got power and he's got speed. I like guys that do both. He's a solid defender. Torres doesn't make sense because of position and team. Arraez doesn't make sense because, to me, he's really a DH. He's not a particularly good fielder and he doesn't have power, and they need some power. Alcantara and Peralta have not been very good this year. And Alcantara hasn't been good for a few years. He's got a lot of talent. Peralta's been great before this year, but he's not having a particularly good season. You got Peralta's numbers this year?
I wonder if Alcantara's just worn down from being on a bad team. How many
They're
times?
not that bad, though. They've been competitive. It's not like it's the Rockies. That would be look at Peralta's ERA, 4.83.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been terrible. Now, he's been a clutch pitcher. He's been a really good pitcher. I like him to turn it around, too. He's a rental having a bad year. So, Now, the Mets gave up a lot to get him, so I don't know, but the Mets stink. They're a disaster.
Was he the guy from Milwaukee they traded for?
Yes.
Okay.
The Mets
you know how many? Did you
Yes.
hear about that? For those who don't know, I know you know. Yesterday, the Cubs and Mets played a doubleheader. In the second game of the doubleheader, first of all, the Cubs offense has been struggling lately, and the Cubs scored 10 runs in both games. So that tells you about the Mets pitching right now. In the second game of the doubleheader, the Mets infield made 6 errors.
That's more than the Lakeshore Defenders.
Right.
Yeah, it's like Little League. It's like kids' baseball.
Yeah.
It was crazy. The infield, not just the whole team. The infield made 6 errors.
Well, also in that, real quick,
Yeah,
Dansby Swanson had 15 RBI in the series.
he did in 3 games.
3 games.
Well, in the
15.
first game of the doubleheader, he had a grand slam and a 3-run homer.
That's outrageous.
And he's been terrible. He'd been having a terrible season before the series.
The Mets will cure anybody.
Yeah, the Mets, they will.
That is probably the first roster that's going to get rated here, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Mets, listen, you've got so many talented players that are struggling there. Now, they're not going to trade Juan Soto. They're not going to trade Bo Bichette. They'd be happy to give somebody Marcus Semien. I don't know if anybody wants him. They would trade either Brett Beatty or Mark Vientos, 2 young corner infielder DH types. Obviously, Freddie Peralta. They've got a couple of interesting setup guys in there. A couple of interesting relievers on that team. They already traded one of their pitchers yesterday, David Peterson, who has struggled. So, they could be interesting. That's the thing. That's why this is there's many reasons why it's a good year for the Guardians to go all in this year. Number 1, the American League stinks, so it's wide open. Number 2, there's some teams with good players that are not usually this bad that are bad. Obviously, the Tigers, although who knows. The Red Sox are bad. The Mets are bad. I was going to say the Phillies, but they've played a little better lately. I don't think they're going to give up. But there are some teams. It's not in the past couple of years. It's been like the Rockies and the White Sox, and it's like, well, who do I want from those teams? They don't have anybody to trade for. But there's some interesting guys to trade for. I've been saying Buxton for a while, although the Twins probably wouldn't do it. But Jarren Duran is a hell of a player, and honestly, I think the Guardians could use 2 bats, a relief pitcher, and a starter, and I would go for all of it. They never do. They haven't in a decade. Now's the time. Spend some freaking money.
Yes.
Yeah.
If not now, when?
If not now, when?
You've got the prospect capital to do it.
The lockout. You're not going to have baseball next year for at least part of the season.
Correct.
I'm dangling one of my top prospects. I want 2 guys back. Starter, a pitcher, starter or reliever's debatable, and a bat.
Now, I'm only trading Engel and Velasquez if I get a superstar. But I'll trade anybody else for good players in the system. But I'm not trading Engel or Velasquez unless I get a star. If I get a star,
Zach Meisel has said they're not trading Velasquez, right? It would be.
No, I don't think there's a world where they.
Oh yeah, there's a world.
Who's available? Who would be available where they would trade Velasquez?
I don't know if it's realistic, but if you could get Yordan Alvarez, you would trade anybody.
Yeah, and I don't think that's realistic. I think we agree.
But that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Though the guys you would have to give up Velasquez for,
like Skubal. Again, I'll go back to Skubal.
Right, are guys that you're probably not getting.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say they're untradeable because there are guys that I would trade those guys for. Not a lot. But after those 2, I'll trade anybody.
Yeah.
After those 2, not for some mediocre player, but if I can get a really good player, I'd trade most of their prospects to get a Peralta or a Jarren Duran outside of their top 2 guys. You got, like Mike said before, with basketball, you got to give up something to get something. You give up a prospect, they've been hesitant to trade prospects until it's too late.
They've lost a lot of value. Yeah. I still think they need a right-handed bat. They're so lefty heavy.
Yeah, well, Duran's a lefty.
Duran's another lefty.
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout, I give up any.
Keep
Although Mike Trout's hurt.
I mean, he's hurt again. Yeah.
He's been more healthy the last 2 years, but he's hurt right now.
He has.
Who's a big right-handed bat on the Mets? Is there anybody? Nobody's coming to mind.
No.
Simeon's not a big bat.
No.
There's probably a big right-handed.
It doesn't even have
somewhere.
to be a big bat.
Yeah.
I just think they need a right-handed bat. They're so lefty heavy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when I say get 2 hitters, you get one guy who's a legit starter, maybe one guy who you could use, who's a good righty bat off the bench to hit lefties and play against lefties.
I love their platoons.
Yeah. Rhys Hoskins is falling off a cliff here. He is.
You're seeing why he was available on.
Yeah, I liked him, and he got off to a good start. I mean, he was fine the first 2 months, but he is really scuffling.
It all points to you got to do it. The time is now.
Yeah.
The reasons are in front of you. Obviously, the injuries have accelerated this, but they've exposed so many warts. So, I'm not saying it has to be tomorrow.
No.
But it's more than time to be shopping.
Yeah.
How long? Can you get better
Let's hope they don't bring Carlos Santana back.
He just got DFA'd. I saw that.
Carlos Santana and Carlos Carrasco got DFA'd on the same day. Carlos Carrasco's been DFA'd 3 or 4 times this year. Go ahead.
Can you get better value on some of these guys by not waiting for closer to the deadline? Or does the value go?
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to make It's hard to make a deal now because sellers want to wait till the deadline to get the maximize the offer.
Right, especially now that there's 6 playoff teams in each league. There's more teams that stay in it, but teams will get desperate closer to the deadline.
Yeah,
they feel that anxiety, especially certain teams, like teams that haven't won or whatever.
If I was a seller, I would want to get out in front of it for no other reason than the risk of injury. If you've got a guy that you know you're going to sell, trade him now.
Especially if he's in. Like if the Twins are considering trading Byron Buxton at all,
do it now.
They should trade him now.
Yeah.
And you know what? As good as he's been the last 2 years, they could get a haul for him.
Oh, for sure. But it just seems that teams just.
By the way, I give up Velasquez for Byron Buxton. 100%.
What's left on his contract?
I think he's got.
Let me look it up.
I think he's got 2 years after this.
Inter-division trades are
no money.
So hard. Like, why would the Twins ever send him to the Guardians?
I'm just saying, if you could.
Yeah.
I give up.
He's on a great contract.
Yeah, it's like was he like $20 million a year the next 2 years?
15 for each of the next 2.
I mean, you get 3 playoff runs with Byron Buxton, who, when he's healthy and has been relatively healthy the last 2 years, is a top 15 player in the game.
Yeah, First of all, I don't think the Twins would trade him. Do you think they would trade him? I don't think they would trade him.
He said, "I'm a Twin for life."
Yeah, I don't think.
That's what we heard that about Myles Garrett too.
I think they would. I think they. It's unlikely that they would trade him to the Guardians.
Minneapolis to Cooperstown.
I think if they got blown away with an offer, they would trade him because he's injury prone.
Yeah.
And they're not. Listen, kudos to them. They're hanging around 500. Like, I think, what are they? How many games under 500 are they? Not too many.
About 5.
No, they're just 6 games under 500.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Mike, no. I thought they might be the worst team in the American League this year. Like, they're pitching, outside of Joe Ryan. They should trade Joe Ryan, although he's, I think he's all right. He just got scratched. But, their team, I mean, they're not good. I don't know how they're only 6 games under 500. Well, part of it's the American League stinks. The American League Central really stinks.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's maybe the worst division I can ever remember.
That's why Detroit's not dead.
Can you guys name? This is not the trivia question today, but can you name the top? We'll do the top 10 home run leaders in Major League Baseball right now.
The top 10 home run leaders.
Who's
Kyle Schwarber's number 1, I think.
Schwarber's 1.
Jordan's on there somewhere.
Jordan, Ohtani.
Hold on. Jordan's tied for number 2. Who'd you say?
Ohtani.
Ohtani's not in the top 10.
Judge is still in there, right?
Nope.
Really? I know he's been hurt for a while.
Yeah, he's been hurt for a few weeks now.
Top 10 in home runs, man.
You got 2 of the 10.
We got 2 of the 10.
Is Murakami still in there?
Yeah, Murakami's tied for 6.
And he's been hurt for like 3 weeks.
A couple weeks now.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
Nope. Buxton's tied for 2nd, by the way.
I was going to say
Buxton. Oh, God. I didn't even think about that.
Buxton's tied for 2nd.
Just talking about Buxton.
Yeah.
So Schwarber, that's what made me look this up, and then I saw the rest of the names.
O'Neal Cruz up there?
Nope.
Oh. Go ahead. Give us the top 10.
So Schwarber's 1. Buxton and Alvarez tied for 2nd.
Yeah.
Ben Rice is 4th.
Oh, yeah.
Hunter Goodman's 5th.
Wow.
And then Matt Olson, Colson Montgomery, Murakami, and James Wood round out the top 10.
James Wood, I should have known that too.
And then Shea Langoliers and Nick Kurtz tied for
Langoliers having a great
teammates.
Yeah, Langoliers having a great year.
Yeah, there's some new fresh names there. James Wood. Some of those guys are on really bad teams too.
Dylan Dingler having a great year.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of home runs.
He's got 18. He's tied for 12th.
He's got a house here.
He's a Canton kid.
Yeah.
He's got a house in.
He's from Maximilian.
I don't want to dox him. He's got a house.
Did you say Maximilian?
Massillon.
Maslon.
Massillon.
I was friends with him. Yeah. He's got catch you up, Mike.
Dingler's got a house on the west side.
Nailed
Put it
it.
that way.
He's got okay. Yeah, you don't want to say where it is specifically, but anyway.